Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of Project and Portfolio 3. You are in the final home stretch and you've made it this far, so congratulations. So let's go ahead and get started. So, in the first week, you were introduced to the concept of entrepreneurship. Week 2, we talked about entrepreneurs in the workplace. Week 3, we spoke about facilitating change and also looking at corporate culture and the internal politics that can happen within a company and how to maneuver through those politics. And also we did some self-reflection by taking the E3 behavioral test. Now we are in week 4 and we are going to discuss implementing innovation. So once we have understood the company that we've been researching from the perspective of an employee, and we understand the culture of the organization, and we also have some understanding of our personal strengths and weaknesses, how are we going to present that idea and get a yes to our proposal, our entrepreneurial proposal? Keep in mind that being an entrepreneur is a concept. This is not a job description. You don't apply to be an entrepreneur. It's just a way of working. It's a concept that some companies are implementing. They're creating leadership academies and entrepreneurial programs to help develop their employees so they can stay competitive. It's also a bottom-up concept where employees are exhibiting these behaviors, and it's helping them keep their jobs more interesting by looking at it with a fresh pair of eyes, being able to show their worth at work. B, helping the company's bottom line by helping it stay competitive. So you want your company to stay in business. And C, potentially helping you get promoted by showing that you bring real value to the table by noticing opportunities within your company. So today's agenda is showing your value at work, employee engagement, and class project review. We have a second half of our agenda as well, which we'll get into in part 2. So showing your value at work. Before you can innovate at a company, you need to show your value. You need to give your company more than you take out in salary and benefits to be considered worthwhile and a worthwhile investment by your company. In the financially driven corporate world, it is not about effort, it's all about results. So you're better off concentrating on areas that directly impact your company's bottom line. You want to focus on opportunities that present themselves, even if they're outside of your official job description. I'm sure you all have worked with people that kind of have that attitude where, you know what, that's not my job, or that's not in my job responsibility or job description. And there's always going to be people in the workplace like that. But it is really the movers and shakers that see the big picture and see that in order to get things accomplished, you need to think outside of your current role. You need to look at the big picture of what's happening with a company. So once you show your value, you can be entrepreneurial. Many millennials are entrepreneurs at heart and believe they have to leave the corporate world in order to fulfill their dreams. But as you've learned in this class, that is not so. If you're lucky, you can work at an organization that supports entrepreneurship, like we've talked about. There's companies, again, that have these programs internally. But overall, entrepreneurs focus on innovation and creativity and transform good ideas into profitable ventures. But how do you get your ideas heard, right? So once you've identified a good idea for a new or improved process or product, you need to seek a network of peers and or sponsors to help you evaluate it and get it off the ground. Sometimes it might be more senior management or senior manager who can open doors, or someone with technical expertise who has the know-how and credibility to help you. So overall, do your homework and prepare a business proposal. And that's what you've been doing throughout this class. You've been researching your companies. You should feel very comfortable identifying what some opportunities are based on your research. When pitching your idea, address your audience and speak in terms that they understand. Okay? So you always want to understand who your audience is when presenting an idea. Never forget that you're part of a larger team. Don't try to do this alone. Teamwork is an essential part of corporate entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and to be comfortable with yourself and abilities. But most importantly, know when to let go. Even if you're convinced your idea will make the company billions, if you can't sell it, move on to something else. I know this can be hard for some people. They have an idea and it's their baby and they really think that this is going to add value to the company. But if your idea is not being perceived as a value to the company, it might be time to shelf it, okay? You don't have to completely let it go, but shelf it for a while, okay? Just might give you time to reflect, speak to some mentors or your mentor, your manager, to see how maybe the idea could be developed more. How do you know when the time is right to share new ideas? Well, first off, you should wait until you've been around for a while and proven yourself as a smart, capable employee, and even that takes guts. There will always be those whose mission it is to preserve the status quo. Those folks that say, that's just not how we do things around here. Your best bet is to put together a bulletproof case that clearly demonstrates how your concept will benefit the company. It's also good to share it subtly and modestly, one person at a time, until you have enough supporters to counter any naysayers. So you want to respect your managers, you want to respect your peers. You also want to respect the folks that could have created the original process. So thinking back to the part 3 section of your entrepreneurial proposal, you researched customer reviews on Yelp and through blogs and articles, and you probably saw that there was some business opportunities out there based on some customer complaints. Well, just like you see those, customer complaints as an outsider, if you were working there, you would be hearing these same complaints, and you would be seeing that this means that there is a business opportunity. So this should help you create your bulletproof case. In order to get you to feel motivated, you need to feel engaged. So when do employees feel engaged? Typically when their talents, values, and aspirations are aligned with the company's mission and goals. I'm sure you can think of times where you've either worked for a company or been part of a team where you felt engaged, and that's a good feeling to have. That motivates you to want to be entrepreneurial within a company, and also connects you to your company. Companies want you to feel engaged. Typically, when an employee's talents, values, and aspirations are aligned with the company's mission and goals, they're engaged. The employee is emotionally attached, committed to their work and to the organization, and feel motivated to contribute effort that furthers the organization's success. So overall, employee engagement is good for you and it's good for the company. So think about, what does employee engagement look like? What are some quotes, for example, you might hear from employees that are engaged? You might hear them say they have pride in their work. They feel like they're making a difference. They feel there's real meaning in their job. My job helps the organization achieve success. My company has my back. This is a safe environment with a culture of trust and respect. My strengths are matched to my job description and my day-to-day job. We're all in this together. I have dependable colleagues and I can count on them. There is balance between going full force and a more relaxed pace. There's realistic expectations, trust. I believe in the leadership and the direction of the company. Merit and loyalty are earned, not bought. And there are no office politics, so my energy is used on my work. So these are things that people feel when they're engaged. They have that pride. It helps them feel ambitious. They feel they have autonomy and a connection to the company. Surprisingly, what percent of people or employees do you think are engaged in the workplace? I'll give you a second. Well, a Gallup study revealed that 71% of American workers are not engaged or are actively disengaged in their work. So one of the reasons why we discuss entrepreneurship is it's a way to engage with your work. It's a way to feel connected. It's a way to feel like you're part of a larger team. Implementing these behaviors, understanding the concepts of entrepreneurship will help you become more successful in your career. And it is also the way that companies are headed. It is the expectation, it is now becoming the expectation that you behave this way when working for a company. So why is this beneficial to a company? What are the benefits to a company to ensuring their employees feel engaged? Enabling employees to engage in innovation can also be a valuable way for employees to gain additional skills, demonstrate leadership, and contribute to the company in ways that they normally cannot do in their current role. This is specifically, or especially rather, true for someone who has a repetitive or mundane job and is looking for other ways to add value and engage their brains a little more at work. So both organizationally and professional development can occur when these employees participate in cross-functional innovation. So again, it's a win-win. So engagement, being a part of the larger team, bringing your ideas to the table, this is all good stuff. So I want to take a little time to talk about the class project. You are developing a proposed solution for your company. So you have looked at the company overall, big picture. What industry is the company in? Who are the competitors? What are some trends happening in that industry? What are the competitors doing? You've also looked at what are the customers saying? Who are the customers? Are there customer complaints? Are the customers giving feedback? And you're writing this proposal from the perspective of an employee. So now that you know what customers are saying, you can now come to the table and say, you know what, based on customer reviews, I, as an employee, feel that the company should do whatever you have found through your research. So, for example, one of my previous students was researching, I believe, Netflix. And they found through customer reviews that people were unhappy with the length of time that shows stayed up. And also, they were unhappy with the pace at which new episodes were added to Netflix. So his suggestion to management was to have a date on there that showed how long the show would be available, the show or movie, so people could kind of plan a little bit. They felt like they didn't know how long something was going to stay up. And then also he was giving suggestion to management to potentially get the newer shows added at a quicker pace based on customer feedback. Another student who was researching Starbucks, for example, found that there was a lot of complaints from customers when the barista wrote their name wrong on their cup. And you might look at that and think, oh, that's, what's the big deal, right? They wrote the name wrong. They're really busy, it's okay, But if you think about it, that customer wants to feel a connection with the Starbucks brand. They want to feel a connection with their customer experience while at Starbucks. So by making that simple action a priority and making it clear that the name was spelt correctly, that student proposed that would improve the connection between Starbucks and their customers. So those are just two, real quick examples of ideas for change that came from reviewing customer reviews. So now that you have discovered what your idea is for improvement, whether it be a process change or a new product, for part 4, you're also going to talk about who are you going to work with in order to get your idea approved. So in part 4, you need to talk about your plan as far as incorporating management, your peers, who's your network, who's your mentor that's going to help you bring your idea to fruition. So keep that in mind when answering the questions in part 4. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and finish part 2 of week 4's lecture.